Guys, the Venezuela situation is getting more and more interesting. Russia sent 2 destroyers to the coast of Venezuela to protect Venezuela. This reminds me of an article I came across on Reba, the biggest Russian Telegram channel. And I also seen the same article on Slav about 3 days ago. And according to this article, one Russian official said, surprise awaits America if they invade Venezuela. Clearly, we can see that the Russians are sending more and more arms to Venezuela. This official also claimed that Russia is also considering sending even the Orishnik missile to Venezuela. And to my surprise, Iran has gotten involved. Iran is sending kamikaze drones to Venezuela. Remember, this Iranian kamikaze drone is very, very effective. Yes, Vladimir Putin is playing some game with America currently. So they are sending a message to America that yes, you are surrounding us with NATO. Remember when the war began, almost the whole Western media, they claimed that Ukraine have the right to decide who they want to work with. Putin have no right to determine whether Ukraine joins NATO or not. So Putin is trying to play the same game here. Okay, if in the name of democracy you can put your weapons and surround us with NATO, then equally we can also do the same thing. So he's playing a game here. Okay, I'll also support Venezuela. So if America really wants Russia to back down, in return, I think the Russians will also ask them to also back down in Ukraine. So this is kind of a geopolitical game that Vladimir Putin is playing with them. Very similar to the Cuban Missile Crisis, when NATO decided to mount their missiles in Turkey. Aiming Moscow, the Russians also retaliated by working with Fidel Castro of Cuba and also placed their weapons in Cuba, right, targeting American states. Quickly, the Americans were not comfortable with it. America decided to find a way around this situation, and they were able to negotiate. And later, the Russians decided to withdraw their weapons from Cuba. In return, America was also asked to also withdraw their weapons from Turkey. And this was what happened back in the Cold War. So this is the same geopolitical game that I see Vladimir Putin playing here with the West and Uncle Sam, especially Uncle Sam. Venezuela is not going to be an easy cake, as many people suggest. So today, even the Wall Street Journal posted an article claiming that even Trump administration is currently confused, because what are they going to tell the whole world if they invade Venezuela today? What? One of their main aim was to kick out Maduro from power by threatening him, right? We saw America moving more and more equipment to the Caribbean, especially in Puerto Rico. So this was an attempt to intimidate President Maduro, but the guy has refused to step down. And currently, the American government is confused what to do next. This is what the Wall Street Journal said, right? Now, when you look the history between Russia and United States, every country the Russians support to fight against the United States always find it very difficult to defeat that particular country. Yes, United States have a very big army, very big, navy. They have everything more than most of the countries whom they fail to defeat. But the main problem, or the main reason why America always find it difficult to defeat these countries, is because Russia always support them. Let's take Vietnam War, for example. America had everything more than Vietnam. The total bombs America dropped on Vietnam was more than the total bombs America dropped in Second World War. Yet, they couldn't defeat Vietnam. Remember, North Vietnam ended up defeating South Vietnam, and communism won in the Vietnam War. Another clear example is the Korea War. After the end of Second World War, Korea became the first victim of the Cold War between Russia and America. The country was divided into two. The South Vietnamese wanted to go into the direction of capitalism, and North Vietnam, under the leadership of Kim, the current president of North Korea, his grandfather, he was also called Kim, also decided to go in the direction of communism. He admired Stalin so much. So he wanted to unite the country under communism, just like how, just exactly what happened in Vietnam, right? In the Vietnam War, they were divided into two, South Vietnam, North Vietnam. One was controlled by America, the other half was controlled by Russia. But at the end of the day, the North Vietnamese won against the South Vietnamese. So the whole country fell under communism regime. So this was the same situation that Kim's father was trying to do. But quickly, America decided to step in. They bombarded North Korea. They carpet-bombed North Korea. The total bombs, once again, that America dropped in North Vietnam was more than the total bombs that America dropped on Japan. Quickly, the Russians decided to step in, and the Chinese. So today, North Korea wouldn't be existing if not for the support of Russia and China, especially the Russians. Remember, America was not able to defeat China and Russia in the Korea War. Clearly, they were not able to defeat them. So, looking at the historical evidence available, everything is clear that when Russia supports a country to fight against America, it's always difficult for America to defeat that particular country. You can't compare Venezuela Navy to American Navy. America have more powerful weapons. They have big aircraft carriers out there. But what Venezuela have is they have an ally who have the missiles to destroy most of these American warships or their aircraft carriers. Note, the Kinjal hypersonic missile was basically designed by the Soviet Union to destroy or sink American aircraft carriers. Back in the Soviet era, the Kinjal hypersonic missile was a supersonic missile. Vladimir Putin decided to convert it into hypersonic missile. And clearly, today we all know that there is no weapon or there is no air defense system today in the arsenals of NATO that can stop the Kinjal hypersonic missile. What motivates me to create these videos day in, day out is your endless support for me. In fact, I do this out of passion. Don't forget to hit on the like button, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Hitting on the like button is very important to me because this is a clear signal to YouTube that you guys actually like what I do here, and this helps the platforms to grow as well. Everybody keep talking about the Orishnik missile, but personally I doubt Russia have a lot of these Orishnik missiles in their arsenals because this Orishnik was released recently. But what the Russians have a lot is rather the Kinjal, and I think America should be more concerned about the Kinjal. Right, the Kinjal is also known as a dagger. This weapon is capable of even penetrating bunkers. It's very dangerous. People underestimate it. Almost every attack on Ukraine, the Russians use this Kinjal hypersonic missile. This is a clear indication that they have these Kinjal hypersonic missiles a lot. When I currently look at Venezuela war preparation, it's quite interesting. They realize that they are no match for America, so they are only prioritizing important things. Now, according to multiple reports, Venezuela has also received S-400 air defense systems from Russia. Remember, there is no country on earth here that have better air defense systems more than the Russians. You can Google it right now. If you doubt me, just Google it right now. The best air defense systems in the world is produced by the Russians. And we've seen Russian air defense systems being very effective on the battlefield against American aircraft. For example, during the war or the 10th Ramadan war between Egypt and Israel, we all know that the Israeli army is an extension of the American army. They use the same weapons, they have the same style of warfare. So after the Egyptians learned their lesson in the 6 days war, during the 10th Ramadan war, Egypt didn't waste their time trying to combat against America using fighter jets. They decided to rather focus on land-to-air missiles, air defense systems. And we also heard that was very effective against Israel. In fact, one of the main reasons why Israel lost the 10th Ramadan war was because of these air defense systems. Even in Vietnam, one of the biggest nightmares of America was Russian air defense systems, because these air defense systems were very effective. They shot down a lot of American aircraft. So clearly, surprise awaits America, because I see history repeating itself again. If they are not careful, as I said, these guys will end up in another Vietnam war or Afghanistan war. It's not going to be an easy cake or easy pie for them. Vladimir Putin is against regime change. In fact, when you listen to Vladimir Putin, he continued to say that even if a country have a dictator and the country is stable, it's better than to destroy the country in the name of democracy, right? Remember, in his famous multipolar speech, back in 2008 or 2009, he did warn the Western America about this whole regime, change operation. That is the main reason why Russia decided to go into Syria to protect Assad, right? So, in terms of support, yes, I think the Russians can support Venezuela. But clearly, once again, let me repeat this again, I don't see Russian boots on the ground. It's going to be pure proxy war. That is what I see happening. Remember when Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was unalived, the only European leader to condemn NATO was Vladimir Putin. By then, he was not even the president of Russia. He was the prime minister of Russia. Medvedev was the president and he was the prime minister. He was the only one to condemn, NATO. Now, one might ask, and a lot of people keep asking me this question, why didn't Russia step in to protect Colonel Muammar Gaddafi? In fact, I don't know how many of you understand or know how this whole operation went. In fact, NATO didn't make it clear that they were going in to overthrow Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. During UN Resolution Council, what NATO said was they were going in to actually help. So they were going in like UN peacekeepers. And the whole thing happened very quick. In fact, by the time the whole world realized, NATO was bombarding Colonel Muammar Gaddafi palace day and night. So this came as a surprise to everybody. And that is why Vladimir Putin was very angry. That is why he asked, nobody is safe with this whole regime change operations, which, NATO is engaged in. This Nobel Peace Prize lady continued to amaze me. The main opposition in Venezuela. This lady once again continued to support Uncle Sam invasion of Venezuela. So this lady is basically telling them that, look, I mean, put me in charge. If you put me in charge, I'll give you everything. I'll allow you to come into Venezuela and take whatever you want. Clearly, that is what the woman is trying to say. I'm shocked. This is not the first time that I'm talking about this lady. And note, this is the main opposition in Venezuela. So this lady has decided to side with Uncle Sam. That is what she's currently doing. By the way, you watch the video.
And this is amazing, super exciting for me. We will open Venezuela for foreign investment. I am talking about a $1.7 trillion opportunity, not only in oil and gas, which is huge, and you know that the opportunities, because we will open all upstream, middle stream, downstream to all companies, but also in mining, in gold, in infrastructure, power. We have our grid right now has a 17 gigawatt opportunity of energy potential that needs to be rehabbed. Certainly for technology and AI and tourism. Venezuela has 2,800 kilometers of pristine Caribbean coastline ready to be developed. So this is going to be huge. We will bring rule of law. We will open markets. We will have security for foreign investment and a transparent, massive privatization program that is waiting for you.
I see a lot of similarities between Volodymyr Zelensky and this lady. You guys are smart enough to understand what I'm trying to say, right? Because if I'm to tell you guys my mind about this lady, I don't think this video will be on this platform. Do take it down. But you guys are smart enough to understand what I mean. Thank you very much for your endless support. If you watch the video to the very end, you know what to do. Where are you watching this video from? Let me know which country exactly you are watching this video from. This will help me know where most of my viewers are coming from. Thank you very much once again. Shalom. See you guys in the next episode.